54 weeks or 68 matches ago, if you want to be really, really specific about these things, Tottenham Hotspur lost for the last time. Probably not the last time ever. That was the most recent defeat. It was against Manchester City, the team we play today. After that match, it killed off any hopes we had of winning the league and just about secured them the Premier League title for last season. This time around, almost a year on, just slightly over, roles have reversed completely. We're now in a position where a win today kills off any hope they've got, all but mathematically secures promotion for us. The only slight issue is the fact that they're still in the Champions League, and if everything flips on its head completely from last year, we might not quite get the happy ending to this season that we're hoping for. Hello and welcome to Season 22, Episode 10 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we are at home against Manchester City and then also at home against Juventus in the Champions League. The Juventus one should be a formality. We're 5-1 up from the first leg in the quarterfinal of the Champions League. Champions League going well again. In fact, to be fair, everything is going really rather well. Look, we've not lost a game. We've not even drawn a game since you were last with me. We're just scoring lots of goals, barely conceding any. The Premier League looks utterly delightful. We're 10 points clear with a game in hand. City have only got 7 games to go. We beat them today and we win maybe 1 or 2 more games and we're there, and we should have just be able to cruise through into the semi-final of the Champions League. We've got an FA Cup semi-final against Man United coming up as well. This is doable. We could actually win all 7 of these trophies, which would just be remarkable. This has already been the longest ever unbeaten run I've had in all my time playing Football Manager. And if the match engine has any kind of storytelling about it, it's either going to go one way or the other, because it does bookend the run nicely. If we're beaten by City, go on a year-long unbeaten run, and then are beaten by City again. To be fair, we'd probably still go on and win the league, but it takes a shine off it a little bit if we don't do it whilst being unbeaten at this point. When you've gone 30 games, you kind of have to get the rest of the way over the finish line. But then there's also the whole, it would be fitting story-wise if we completely exercised the demons of last year and absolutely thumped them the way we did in the home tie last year. Because remember, they beat us 6-1 away. We beat them 6-1 or 6-0 at home, I think it was, really early on last season. So we're capable of absolutely thumping them earlier. There you go. We beat them 6-0 in November. They then beat us 6-1. So we beat them on aggregate last year. But we need it. We need a win. We need a win today. And this is the team that we're going to send out there to try and get us exactly that. Ribeiro is injured. No, he's not. He's suspended. Picks up a lot of suspensions, that lad. But he's not going to be playing. So Plotnikov comes in at left back. Other than that, we are effectively full strength. You might argue Wagner wouldn't be in there ordinarily. It would perhaps be a spot for Burgess, who is... Where is Burgess? Is he injured? He's injured as well, isn't he? I knew he was around somewhere. He's got a pulled hamstring. He's been out for a week or so already. So this is the team. We've got Igor in goal. A back four of Plotnikov, Aribi, Eriksson, and Ndai. Fiorentini, Wagner and Ziyech in midfield, with Oscar in behind Wells and Vendrig. Iribarren is slowly catching up with the Man City striker Vatani in the top scorer charts. Yes, he's still nearly 15 goals behind him, but he is now firmly in second place on that goal scoring chart thing. So media have got us down as favourites for the game, which are bookmakers, not media. Silly Kev. Yeah, we want to win the game, obviously. Let's just get into it. I'm nervous. If we win this, it pretty much is winning us the title. Even if we lose it, we'll probably still win the title. But like I said before, we've got, at this point, to come this far, it'll really take the shine off of it not being unbeaten at this point. We've gone 30 games unbeaten. Well, we have gone the length of a season unbeaten since the last time we lost to City. We've just not done it all within one season. How many games were Arsenal unbeaten for in the league? Was it 50 games? Is that what it was in the end? We might have to see how many unbeaten games we had last year. But of course, it counts for nothing if we let Vatani do that too often, because we know he's absolutely chock full of goals. He scores at least once every game. So we need at least one goal before we let him get too close to the ball. Liam Wells trying to provide exactly that. Crosses to Iribarren, and we are 1-0 up with 11 minutes on the clock. Iribarren gets his 33rd goal of the season. We're 1-0 up against City, and as things stand, we are 13 points clear at the top of the league. They've only got 6 games to go to catch us up. I know it's not mathematically done and dusted just yet, but if you were the Man City manager, you wouldn't have any expectation of being able to claw back that kind of gap. So we just need to hold on to this. If we can beat them, we're home and dry. We can pretty much tick the Premier League off on the list if we can win this game. But it's obviously not over yet. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, because it is effectively 1-0, because it's now 1-1, sorry, but now it's 2-1. Vatani's still going to get a goal at some point, but Fiorentini's been out injured for a little while. I think that might be his first goal since he's been back from injury, and it's a typical screamer. I don't even know what he was doing in that position, but it's just about as perfect a finish as you could ever hope for from that position. And he's run off doing the chicken dance there, which I think earns him an extra 2. We should be 4-0 up, because you get an extra 2 goals for doing the chicken dance celebration. I thought that was Vatani's goal. Igor makes a good save from Campos, whoever he is. But City do have a corner, and hopefully that was Vatani's chance, and he managed to mess it up. Because you got to have one game where you don't score a goal, surely. That was like pinball in there. I think Wagner had the ball at one point. Wells had the ball at one point. Everything moving far too fast to work out who was doing what. But we're on the attack again with Fiorentini, who floats it into Oscar, but he can't quite get there. Ziyech is on the edge of the area. Iribarren, it's pinballing around again and falling to Aribi. Plotnikov's got the ball in their half and doesn't want it at all. And Wells shoots from distance. I could not keep up with that move again. I'm not, just to clarify, I've not increased the match speed here. We are just pass and move. Just fast. I mean, I didn't even notice Oscar touched it the first time out. I didn't have time to say Ziyech, but I saw he had it. Didn't even notice it went through Oscar, but it did. And Oscar actually scores the assist for it. And that was just incredible. That's the kind of fast-paced, passing, one-touch football that just takes your breath away. We're tiki-tackering. We are doing tiki-taka in the Premier League, and that should be impossible. We shouldn't have this group of players. I am never again going to get a group of players quite like this one. They're just really very good, and 3-0 up going into half-time. If we can hold them off until half-time, then I'll be less worried about the possibility of a second half comeback. If they get a goal just before half time, though, it sets the manager up for one of those perilous, we're only winning by 2 goals team talks, and the other team are in the ascendants, and then we have to worry a little bit that they could come back. And we've seen them score a lot of goals in quick succession against us before. But fingers crossed we can hold on until half-time. Or maybe if we can grab a 4th, that really is it. And Oscar's in, and that was brilliant. It's his 31st goal of the season. He's dropped below Iribarren on the goal-scoring charts now, but look at this piece of control there. Iribarren nods it on, and Oscar just... I mean, I know it was a graphical glitch, but in my mind, he really did just pass the ball through a Manchester City player's leg. Absolutely just turned 3 players out of the game in the penalty area. This is the Premier League holders that we're doing this to. And Oscar's just made it look like their defenders have never seen a football before. He tried to do it again there, and it took 3 of them to all close in on him from different directions. They did dispossess him. No one really cares at this point, though, because we're 4-0 up. And just imagine the scenes on the terrace. There's no terraces. Imagine the excitement in the press, not the press box. What other parts? Seats. It's so late. I've never recorded a video this late before. My words are failing me. But the excitement, goodness me. By the end of this episode, we could be almost there in the Premier League and in the Champions League semi-final and the FA Cup semi-final to go along with the 4 trophies we've already won this season. It's starting to feel like a video game at this point, which it hasn't done before. Right, we'll leave Piero deep. We usually drop Oscar back into the midfield as a box-to-box, and Burgess carries on as being the attacking playmaker, or Ziyech or Sedman, but none of them are on the pitch. Fiorentini, he can play there, but he is such a good box-to-box midfielder. I don't really feel the need to move him away from that. Drop Oscar back to be box-to-box when Piero's perfectly capable of being a playmaker there in midfield. Presumably. I don't think I've ever seen him do it before, but stats-wise he should be able to. As well as he should be able to do anything else anyway, because his stats are rubbish. And Oscar, that was a bit weak from Oscar. And City trying to come at us again, but they must be feeling the way we were feeling a year ago when, I know they put 6 past us, but they pretty much did this to us. They've come here with a tiny, tiny glimmer of hope, and we've just said, hope? No, you have none. There you go. Go away, come back next year and try again. This is our league title this year, and if we can hold Vatany off, we should get 5 bonus points and secure the league today. Plotnikov to Fiorentini, and I don't even need to continue commentating because it's game over. We've won 4-0. We have a massive, massive 13-point gap at the top of the league, and our next league game is against bottom of the table Crystal Palace. Premier League is won, everybody. If we manage to bottle it from here, I won't finish that sentence because it's still risky. Hopefully, now we're going to go and get into the Champions League semi-final as well. Just the one change for the Juventus game. Ribeiro comes back in at left back, so Plotnikov drops back down to the bench. There is a strong argument that this is a sort of game where we could have rested a few players, but we're playing Palace at the weekend. If we can't beat them with a rotated team, we don't deserve to win anything. Whereas we've had some horrible experiences in the Champions League before where we've assumed we were through, rotated the team a little bit, and it's all gone very wrong in the second leg. So I would rather have our strongest team out there, win 5 or 6-0, and use that confidence and momentum to go and do the same thing to Palace with weaker players. That's the theory behind it. I think, if anything, over the last 2 seasons, what we've learned with Tottenham, and I'd like to think we've all learned it, because I imagine it surprised you lot even more than it surprised me, the success that we've had with this team. But the thing that I've learned is you don't need a big squad of 30 or 35 players and constant rotation. 15, 16 good players and play them every week. And it stops morale dropping. Yeah, if you get a few injuries, it becomes a bit of a problem. But that's where you have the good youngsters who can drop in, gets them game time. And sometimes you get the likes of Wells or Burgess who get the opportunity because of injuries to other players that they wouldn't have got if there'd have been a backup for every position. And they turn out to be really useful first team players themselves. We've gone 1-0 down. We don't lose football matches. I don't remember the last time we were behind in a football match. They have that press conference question where they ask what will happen when you inevitably do lose a game. And I don't know what will happen. We might completely fall to pieces. Yes, we're still well ahead on the tie. There's always that little element of doubt at the back of my mind, though, in situations like this. They've got themselves an away goal. I know we got 5, but unless we score a goal or 2 fairly sharpish, I'm going to get Liam Wells. What a wonderful man. It's his 28th goal of the season. We've got our equaliser, and I'll be happy with a 1-1. I'm not... What is going on the bench? Is that warm-ups? Jumping up and down, doing star jumps? Or were they celebrating the goal before it happened? They actually all sat down when the goal went in. I hope you were all watching the bench rather than watching the action on the pitch there. We'd all seen it in the dots. It means more with the dots anyway. The 3D stuff. Let's not get too bogged down in all that. But, yeah, 1-1. Quite happy with that. We don't need to beat Juventus today. We just need to not lose 5-0 to them. So the draw is just in the spirit of keeping the unbeaten all competitions run going, which isn't necessary. At this stage, it's kind of becoming necessary because if we lose, particularly in the Champions League, losing a game at this point is going to make it quite hard to win it, which we're quite keen to do. And in the FA Cup, losing a game is disastrous. But the really important competition to be unbeaten in is the Premier League. Everything else is just gravy, as the cool kids say, or did like 15 years ago, probably maybe. All that being said, I don't want to concede a goal here, but it's actually us attacking. Shows shows how much attention I've been paying to this game. We kind of deserve to lose it because I just don't care. Losing 2-1 when we won 5-1 in the first leg doesn't matter at all. But let's get the ball at the other end of the pitch anyway, just to be safe, lads. Yeah, Liam to Pierre now. Piero's just outclassed in games like this, which is only to be expected. He's been playing well above himself all season. And I probably need to start bringing Vendrick on again in situations like that. But the important thing is we have navigated Juventus. We're into the semi-final of the Champions League. And as I'm always asked, I'll do it just this once. Stick around. We've got the Champions League semi-final draw. These are the 4 teams left in the Champions League. Man City are gone. We just had a media report saying, does that mean they'll be able to go? No, it doesn't mean they'll be able to go and win the league now. Obviously, we're still going to win the league. But still left in the competition with us are Atletico Madrid, Chelsea and Benfica. Goodness me, does this trophy look winnable? I don't see that there's any. In fact, let's have a look at all 4 of them. Atletico Madrid are second in La Liga. To be fair, they had a massive period of dominance where they won La Liga, 9 seasons in a row, is that? But then haven't won it for the last 5 or 6 years. They're only second in the league at the moment. They are behind Barcelona, who we've already shown this season we're better than. We played Barcelona, didn't we? I feel like we played Barcelona at some point. I need to check before we go any further. Did we play Barcelona? Barcelona. Perhaps we didn't play Barcelona this season. Is that this season? I don't know. I feel like we've played them recently, maybe. We played them in the final last year. Goodness me. So we should be able to beat Atletico Madrid. Chelsea we know all about. They're third in the Premier League. We should be able to beat them. We have several times already this season. And Benfica, we don't have the Portuguese leagues loaded. So that should tell you everything you need to know about Benfica. They haven't won the league for a couple of years. They've won the Champions League for the last time in 1962. Although they were runners-up like 3 years ago. So they're not to be sniffed at, I guess. But we won it last year. I don't know if you recall. So I'm not bothered who we get. I guess it would be nice to face Chelsea in the final. Although I would say they're probably the team most likely to be able to beat us. Just because that's how this game works sometimes. So all we want is to be away in the first leg. That's always the most important thing. So Atletico Madrid, this will be fine. We'll take this. We'll play Benfica. So it's going to be us against Chelsea. And we're probably going to be at home. It's going to be the last option. Yeah, there you go. It's the reverse of the draw that I wanted. It's not a disaster. I'm still confident we can beat Chelsea, but it does leave our... Hold on, we just have to go on a little bit further, just so that we can see the shape of the fixtures and plan the rest of our episodes for this season, because we should have this season wrapped up in the next 2 or 3 episodes. I know there's... Potentially we might not even need that many. Right. Mathematically, we can win the league in these next 2 games, Palace and Fulham. So I think we're just going to go straight into that for tomorrow's episode and try and win the league tomorrow and then forget the Premier League exists. We'll then have Man United and Chelsea as a double header. So FA Cup semi-final, first leg of the Champions League semi-final. Unless you'd rather see both legs of Chelsea in one episode, because at some point there's going to be a standalone episode, I guess, unless we don't win the league in these 2 games and then do Leeds and Man United and then Chelsea as a double header and then hopefully 2 finals at the end of the season. Let me know down in the comments how you'd like the shape of the rest of the season to be. And also, we need to be thinking about what happens next. There seems to be 2 schools of thought. Do we resign and go abroad, or do we just retire and end the save completely? Let me know down in the comments which option you would rather see. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.